Hey folks, welcome back. We're looking at episode 3 of Nightmare on Park Avenue. It's a Halloween little traveling fun fair low budget park that I worked on for HalloWiks's, or rather Wix's HalloWikz contest. If this is your first time here, thanks so much for joining. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back. Last week, we built a Ferris wheel, some game stalls, and our first food stalls. This week, we're going to go ahead and expand the park just a little bit with a few more flat rides, stalls, and food stalls. Well, game stalls and food stalls, we'll say. Before we wrap up next week. This has been really fun to put together. I hope you're liking it. If you are, consider subscribing for more updates, more builds. I got a few planned in the future, not necessarily on this contest, but for others. But you'll have to see that. But let's get to brass tacks. Let's look at what we're doing here today. First thing that I wanted to do throughout this build, as I've mentioned before, is use a kind of cohesive language throughout the entire park. What that means is that I'm reusing a lot of the same building materials throughout the queues and lighting the paths and eventually creating stations. And that helps kind of sell the idea that this is a bit of a low budget kind of rundown traveling fair. Something put together with just scraps of wood, basic fencing, nothing too fancy. And so you'll see I use the crypt fencing all throughout all the queues that I covered up with some wood panels to give the effect of some just wood put down on the ground, because the ground is mostly even, but not totally even. And then the entrance for each of these rides got a few crates with some fun jack-o'-lanterns on top and some of that metal plating. The first ride that we did was it looks like a Ferris wheel, but it's got these kind of spinny cages on the ends of it. It looks terrifying. I wouldn't ride it, but I thought that would be fun. It's not a new fancy flat ride. It's nothing that you would get at one of our one of the current fairs that are out there, but maybe that's not what this fair company does. Maybe they've only got older-ish rides, including this one. I don't know what you call this, a roundup. There are a bunch of different things, but it's a nice, fun, flat spinning ride. Oh, I'm sorry. You might hear my dog. Here I had the opportunity to work with some of the path lighting that we created in episode 1 and we used throughout the last episode. And as I mentioned before, this was made with some poles, some of these jack-o'-lantern lights, and some crypt fences. We use this throughout the park. It makes it glow really nicely at night, which we'll get some nighttime lighting later on. You know, I asked this last time, but I'll ask again. Do you all have some fun holiday-themed fairs that you like to go to? Or even attractions, maybe like a pumpkin patch or a holiday market. maybe you noticed in the background, this fun fair is going to have a nice fun little roller coaster. We don't get to it this episode, although I had built it and placed it way before building any of this stuff. And that's why you see it in the background. It's a little wild mouse. We'll get to it next week in our final episode. But this week we've got actually a few more flats. In total, this park will have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like 6 or 7 flats. So with this big roundup ready to go, we're going to go ahead and place, I think it's called the Zozo. It's, it's like a little plane that spins around. We're going to add a hurricane, which, they're very common throughout parks. And then we'll add a zipper, and those are terrifying. For the most part, a lot of this work was pretty straightforward. Placing down the ride, going ahead and filling up the queue with some wood paneling and crypt fences, and trying to cover up some of the Planco in-game entrance pieces. For that reason, I don't really think there's much to say here, and I hope you just kind of can sit back and enjoy it while I work through this. Well, when this is premiering, we're getting pretty close to the end of the year in the holiday season, and so I just wanted to know if you all have any holiday plans. Doing anything fun? Celebrating the new year in style? Maybe going to a theme park of your own, a local one, maybe a not so local one. I'd love to do that. If you happen to be hanging out at home during the holidays, I'll be putting up some more videos. We'll include some POVs, some extra things that I haven't quite put out yet, and I hope you like those. Right, so let's go ahead and put this hurricane down. I always think this one has really fun colors. It's just such a fun looking ride. Now, after adding those flat rides, I went ahead and copied over some of the stalls that we created last week, game stalls and food stalls, and I've added those here. That about wraps it up for this week, though. Next week, final week, we're going to take a look at some roller coasters. For now, enjoy some extended cinematics. Thanks for joining again, folks. I really appreciate your support. Come back next week. Leave me a comment. Let me know what's going on. Let me know if you want to see something on the channel, or if you're just enjoying this. Give me a like, shoot me a comment. Have a good week, folks. Bye.